Aha, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, you wherever you are in the world. This is Carol Machula saying hi, 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 hi. I'm so sorry, I'm a little bit late. Reason being, next door where I live, they are fixing their home, so there's a lot of noise. And today it was really, really bearing the noise. And I thought to myself, I'm going to start a little bit late. As you know, I'm going to be doing these channels every day at 9 o'clock so that I keep a routine kind of going also for myself. Now, today we're talking about something very important about knowing ourselves, how important it is to know ourselves. So, this is a spiritual journey towards knowing yourself because I realize that, if we do not know ourselves, we are lost. And we are living in a world where it really does all the tricks that they have in their sleeves to make us not knowing ourselves. And this comes in us paying bills, us being bombarded with contracts. And these contracts are not made for us. They are always made to protect somebody. So there's marriage that we go into without knowing really what is the essence of marriage. There's so many things around us that makes us really forget who we are. And that's why we go out there to find out about spiritual beliefs. Who are we? And I always say to myself that there is no religion, and please don't get me wrong, it's not me being because I believe in God. I really believe that there's a higher forces in this world that has created this earth, that looks after us, that makes us to be who we are. Now, the only challenge is, how do we know about ourselves if we only focus on what religious tells us? So it is very important to be connected with our inner God. That's my belief. As I've said yesterday, I'm going to talk about the spiritual belief system that keeps me going. And really, you do not have to engage in this. If you have comment, please do comment. I truly believe that the only thing that you own, it's yourself. And the most important thing that you need to do as a human being, because of, as I say, there's so many things that takes us out of confidence, that takes us out of balance, that makes us doubt ourselves. Lots of women, they go through so many things. Lots of men, they go through so many things. But now the challenge is, who do you share your happenings with? And when you share your happenings, how much are you giving a chance for you to rebuild yourself, or to even restructure yourself? Unless if you start searching, whereby I have put down a few things down that's going to give us an understanding. What do I mean when I say, spiritual awakening, awakening yourself towards understanding your core foundation of spirituality. And spirituality, for me, there's so many elements around spirituality that also we got to be very careful as we're searching to discover ourselves. So, as I said, the most number one fundamental for me, it's the journey to self-discovery. Now, this journey to self-discovery, it begins from the age when you decided to be who you are, when you decided to say, I am Carol. And what they have told me since I was young, is it really reality? What I have learned since I was young, is it really me? The struggles and the sufferings that I have embarked upon in life, are they me? And this, I am still struggling with this myself, really, knowing that making yourself and loving your tongue, loving the sound that comes out of your voice, it is the most difficult thing as a human being to embark upon. That's why the term self-discovery is so important. I am, how can I put this? I'm an example to that word that we call self-discovery. I had to discover myself after as I said, I always say this because I like to share about myself, who I am, where I come from, and how has I rewritten myself to who I am. And there were moments in life where I really enjoyed that so much until the happenings again took place and I had to rediscover myself. So self-discovery is very important. Now, what does self-discovery does when you start entering into this journey of self-discovery? It is really understanding that the moment you start saying to yourself, am I good enough? The moment you start struggling with financials, the more you start looking at yourself around your home and you find yourself surrounded with clutter, the moment you start doubting your looks, how you look, and the moment you start really chasing the winds, trying to fit in, then that's when you have to have a moment of saying, stop and take a moment to do a research and start hearing voices that sounds like you, and then go out there and engage with other people where you would find knowledge that will suit your own belief system that you have created towards yourself, because there's so many teachings out there. We're all searching for spiritual discovery, and in this spiritual discovery we have Christianity, which is somewhere, somehow, most of us, we get this knowledge of Christianity from our parents, or you might call it religion. We get it from our parents, we get it from our neighborhood, we get it, and then we then go there trying to define ourselves. But I always say, if you go to religion or Christianity without you knowing who you are, you will definitely they will redesign you again to what they think you should be. But when you choose religion and you choose Christianity, after you have identified who you are, when you go there, you choose this place, you choose this institutes because of you are feeling holy with yourself. So the message that they tend to share with you, then it becomes more embedded within you because of it resonates with who you are. Nobody can redesign you, because we got to be very careful with being redesigned. So self-discovery, it's very important. And another way again around the self-discovery as we are in, I always talk about our governor, that all of us, we have a governor within ourselves. What do I mean by that? Having to be me, not having my parents, growing up from one foster to another, and having to be raped. I always talk about this, and I talk about it because of it's my experience. And often we don't talk about things that we have went through. We are ashamed about telling things that we have went through. But it is your right to vomit all the things that has happened in your life, so that you can be able to free your space within, so that you can have other things that you replace within that. So sometimes people might call it victimization, but it's not victimization. It is explaining how this world has scarred you. So having to be raped more than 28 times, I don't even remember, by gangs and by all that, the only way I had to define myself was to go into finding my God within, listening to my inner voices and toning that into me, stop embracing the rapes, but then eliminating the voices of rape, eliminating these people, these entities that came and tried to occupy my space of thoughts. These voices that tried to occupy my space to make me believe that I was going to be a product for them, but not my own product. That I took away the fear, because I was so afraid when I saw men, especially those who looked like those who had raped me. I would become so afraid, and then of course I became very aware. I'm not saying that I'm not afraid. I would say I've taken away fear, but I'm very vigilant. I'm very, very aware. It has taught me to be aware and to check who comes to me and what do they bring when they come to me. So that all happened because of I took a journey to self-discovery. And this self-discovery made me to move because of all these things that had happened in my own kind of people. The Black people did this to me. So for me to understand human race, I had to engage with my own people and try to find those who are lovely and try to find those who have experienced the same things as me. And then I moved out from my own community and I went to other communities in, such as the French people. I found myself surrounded with French people where it was only me speaking English. I found myself living with about 12 Portuguese people from Angola who were my time, but they in South Africa in those days, having to see people from Angola, people from Congo, people from Nigeria, people, for me, that was like, wow, the world coming into my own space to teach me. And I moved from one area to another, discovering how other people went through in life and finding out that, you know what, storytelling is so important when we speak about ourselves, what has happened to us. And when we go into the journey of self-discovery, we actually discover the rest of the world, how the world lives. So self-discovery is very important. And self-discovery meaning that you are always learning. You are not a master of all. And having to share this with you guys, it does not mean that I know it all, but I'm just saying that this is what I have learned. Improve yourself and your life. Now, this is something very important. Now, having to grow up without knowing my mom and dad, the only person who had to look after me was me. Now, the fact that education was not given enough to me, this life was going to be very challenging in terms of lifestyle, in terms of self-protection, in terms of just really living well, rightfully as I entered this world. Now, what I did, I equipped myself with knowledge. I taught myself, I did research. My education didn't come from as many people out here in the world, came from me forcing myself to learn and also having to be afraid of society. As I didn't grow up with society, I was always afraid that they're going to judge me. As of course, when I went to school for the first time, I was already a little bit old because no one was taking me to school. And there was so much judgmental that made me feel like I was fading away. And the only way that I had to choose to become me, who I am today, I went and taught myself. I went to universities, not to universities, I'm sorry, to libraries, and I chose subjects that they were very dear to me. And health was one of the most amazing topic that keep on coming to me. Whenever I went to the library, I would always go around psychology, health, anatomy, and etc. And that became my interest because my spirit was sending me there, and I learned a lot. I really, really learned a lot. And having to say improve myself, I improved myself. I improved myself by doing that, and I found myself into going into doors that my spirit was telling me to do. I ended up into fashion, studying about what fashion was because I was always intrigued about colors, about clothing. I went there, I studied for a little while, and I got out. Even though it was not of the high degrees as everybody say, you've got the Yales, you've got the Harvard, you've got the Oxford. I was not fortunate enough to enter in those doors, but the education that I was going to give to myself, it was going to be very important for me to be able to navigate this world. So self-empowering, it is so important. Self-improvement to yourself, knowledge-wise, and to your life, it's very important. And just after I did that, then I realized that there was this thing called massage. And around this massage, there was all different kinds of massages, Swedish, aroma, shiatsu, but there was no African massage. Oh my God. And at that moment, I remember me breathing and saying, this is who I'm going to be, because of my great-grandmom, who died at a very, very old age, who was my guardian angel. When I got to her, she was already 99 years old. She taught me movements on how to work on her. As she was getting older, she was going through life. pains and lots of physical problems. And having to learn those things from her, and my my great grandpa having so much knowledge in medicinal plants, that's what I took as my vehicle to life. So self development and self love, self improving yourself and improving your life, it's very important. And of course, self development. So I develop myself, and by developing myself, my spiritual strength was suddenly reinforced. So those are the things. Take a journey to self discovery, improve yourself and your life. Work on your confidence. Confident is another thing, isn't it? Confident. I always put confident next to ego. What does confident mean when we say we improve our confident? I think confident is knowing that you're okay. If you think you've got a big bum, enjoy that bum. Even though sometimes you are always bombarded with this thing of media where everything is perfection, our body ashamed and etc. How do you say to yourself, you know what? I've got a light beam that lives within me, and this is the most important thing, and I'm okay as I am. As Carol Matebula, having not to go into this institute of education that I educated myself, how important that is. When I go around next to others, do I compare myself with others, or do I say the life that I have is already a massive challenge? And do I have to really embrace that moment of the breath that I'm giving of every second of every minute? So I'm confident because of there is no other person who will make me feel holy in this world. There's no other person who will accept me than accepting myself. So be confident with yourself. It's actually self acceptance, accepting yourself for who you are, because no one will accept you. So that for me, it's confident. Confident, it's just not really all these things of putting makeup. And yes, put makeup because of you want to play with yourself, but don't put makeup because of you want to hide yourself. Don't put makeup because of when you don't put makeup, people are going to think you are not beautiful enough. Do things because of your spirit wants to celebrate the moment of you playing, because everything in this life really, it's a game. I call it a theatrical. Everything is a theater. We've got royals that creates their theater and ever re-changing this theater so that it suits them, so that they can have followers. We've got Instagrams today that shows us that life is all about a game. We play. So you have to create your own garden of flowers that you decide that it has purple, it has pink, it has different purples, different pinks, with a little bit of touch of white, with a little bit of touch of yellow. That's your theater that you have created in this life, and you got to be proud of it. So for me, this is where I say to people, we have to be confident for ourselves with whatever that we have selected. Don't be overdaring to others. And if others think that you're overdaring by you knowing yourself, stick to self-knowledge, because that's the only thing that you come here to do. It is to know yourself. So confidence is about really knowing yourself, because when you die, no one will be there to guide you where to go. When you were born in this world, having to come out of those tied doors of your mom, between the legs of your mom. It was only you and your mom. Your mom pushed, but you're the one who had to find the direction of door to enter this world. I'm so sorry to say this, but that's what it is. So you need to be very confident for who you are, because you have done the best so far to remain who you are. Never let anyone to cut you off. You are. And then discover your powers and talents within. That's where we spoke about, where I discover from core, because of I took what I have learned in the backyard with my great grandpa and my great grandma, and I took that and I developed it into a system, and it's a system that works. My God, I master the body. I look at myself every day. What do I do to keep myself healthy without aging quicker with all these techniques and all these things that I learned from my great grandpa and my great grandma. So my cultural of my youth became my career into life. So this is where we say, discover your talents within. Whatever that you think you are, you are. Go for it. Go for it. I know that the world will always minimize you. I still go through that. I just went through that myself recently. But then how do I do to emerge? I remember who I was before these challenges that just happened today. I always go back to the day one I was born until the day of 48. It is all my work. It is all my hard work to be where I'm at. And I've got a right to protect it. I've got a right to honor that. So do not stop growing. This is what I'm saying. Having to do these YouTubes, they allow me to grow. They allow me to self-reflect, to see if I still value my inner melody. Because without my inner melody, I'm nobody in this world. People will put you in boxes. People will create you. People will mock you. People will call you criminals. People will call you fake. People will call you all this whole nonsense of that they took out of their own pockets, that they think about themselves, and they throw it at you. So how do you emerge from that? You emerge. Failures will always happen, but always emerge into self-growth and make sure that you grow to the woman that you love. The past and the present are not so important. What is important, it's the momentum, essence of breath. Second, it's your governor, always watching over you, teaching you when to take the breath in, teaching you when to take the breath out. So the past and the present don't exist. What exists, it's the moment you have, and make sure that you live in it without any questions whatsoever. I'm so sorry, this will be a little bit longer because it's about things that myself, as I'm talking to you right now, I'm talking to myself. I thought this will be a little bit shorter, but this is more important as I'm saying that it's about where I'm at. That's why I'm talking about spiritual awareness. Stop complaining. Complaints. Sometimes we complain when we are stuck. When we are stuck and not knowing where to go, we look around us and we start complaining instead of finding solutions. Why don't you turn your complaints? Listen to your complaints. What do they say? Because complaints, it's like your hidden self talking to yourself. Instead of repeating these complaints over and over and over, just make it a massive decision. Make the most craziest decision that people think, my God, who the hell she is? Who the hell is she? But those decisions has nothing to do with who's watching you. Because remember, in the rest of your life, you have always made decisions. So instead of complaining, change into decisions. And if these decisions, meaning that you have to pack your bags and go to another city, that you always have longed to do so and answer people later, because that is you giving yourself an answer instead of giving yourself complaints. If it does not feel well, you've got a right to say it does not feel well. But when we complain, we rely on our inner infant self. It's where our little girls and boys not allowing us to grow. So complaints, it's denying yourself to grow. And then what else? Get creative. Creativity is the essence. Not long ago, I was in London, and having to live in London, I went from one place to another. And there, because of this thing so-called class, where people are classing one another by who do you know, you have to belong to a certain group of people, even though when you get there, they have nothing to give you because they don't know who you are. They don't know. I always say that life is so interesting because we do not know the footsteps of those we encounter. We look at each other's eyes and we say, oh, she does not have makeup, or she's not wearing heels, she's not of our caliber. And at that moment, you're watching these people really diminishing one another, and you're thinking to yourself, am I going to be in a circle that diminish, or am I going to be in a circle that empowers? And then the moment you realize that, what you need to do, you need to always go into, there's a saying that I have heard not long ago that came from this pastor that I really, really adore. I don't go to his church, but I love how he speaks about words of growth and words of wisdom and words of self-discovery. And this man said, imagine if we had to speak to God every day and ask God about all the things that we have wished to accomplish. And are you aware that every day, whatever that you wish to accomplish, it is actually a gift that is given to you every second of every minute. But how aware are we of this gift? Or we've got so many voices within us, so many voices that actually takes us away from our creativity, our gift. So if you have to be given a key today, imagine that you had to be given a key from the day one that you were born and had to open that warehouse. You'd realize that all the things that you have always wanted to acquire or accomplish, they were always given to you every day. But were you enhancing your creativity? Those creative thoughts that came into your mind, did you value them? Or did you think that, oh, my boss, it's more important than I am? My career, it's more important than I am, because I need to survive. I need to make money for survival. And while we make money for survival, we bury ourselves alive, we die. So it is very important to be creative, and creativity towards remaining who we are, to nourish that flower ourselves. So another thing is that enhance your creativity as well by getting involved. Dear people, I think to be involved, I see there's so many groups out there, and there's so many beautiful minds in one place getting together and saying, let us be the women who can change the world. What does that mean? How many of us are valuing each and every soul that is in there? So to be creative, get involved. Even if you have to use your words, even if you have to share your story for other women who are listening, this gives women a power as well to come out and embrace their spirit. So this is me today embracing the essence of spirituality through my own little voice today, as I'm embarking again on my spirit, as it's ever growing. I never know the spirit where it's taking me to, because of this year I'm 48, and I'm not even there yet. December 21st, I'll be 48. What do I still have ahead of me? That's gonna get into the 21st, where now I celebrate the fact of me when I was born. Every day it's a mystery waiting to unravel. Always unravel your mystery towards empowering your spiritual self. Dear sisters, this is Carol Matibula sharing my innocent self, wisdom, words about myself, and I hope you find yourself in this. So this is Carol sharing her spiritual belief system. And again, we'll be talking about it next week, Thursday. This is Carol Matibula saying, one love, stay well, stay blessed.